Hello and welcome to a fresh new episode of Science Monitor, our weekly update on all that is happening in the field of science and technology in and around the country. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Launching 20 satellites in one go to predicting space climate and mapping the effect of El Nino on monsoon. Technology is everywhere and we bring you closer to them. We have many stories in store for you today, but let us begin with the headlines. ISRO's grand stride, 20 satellites, one mission. Team including Indian researchers set to predict the climate on Sun. Easing the peril, novel multi-tree climber to the rescue. How to become a plant biologist? See our special segment for young students. And in our In Focus segment today, we will discuss about El Nino and its effect on Indian monsoon. And now the news in detail. The job is done. ISRO has successfully achieved its most ambitious technological venture with the launch of 20 satellites in one go. The mission, which includes Indian academic satellites along with commercial satellites from various countries, were launched aboard ISRO's powerhouse PSLV. With this, ISRO now is technologically at par with private space agencies while offering far cheaper space launches.
20 satellites in one launch. ISRO has nailed it again, this time with its largest launch ever. Following a 48-hour countdown, ISRO on 22nd June launched 20 satellites from Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota at 9:26 a.m. IST. The satellites were launched aboard the ISRO's indigenous Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, PSLV C-34.
Today, PSLV C-34 has done its job, and we have the current generation of Earth observation satellite Cartosat-2 series, and along with this another 17 satellites have been put into the orbit, and we will get the confirmation for the Dove series of satellites shortly.
During the liftoff, PSLV C-34 carried with it the 727.5 kg Cartosat-2 series Indian satellite, along with two satellites, Swayam and Satyabhama Sat, made by students from College of Engineering, Pune and Satyabhama University, Chennai. The 17 co-passenger satellites included customer satellites from Canada, Germany, Indonesia and United States. The total weight of all the 20 satellites carried on board PSLV C-34 was 1,288 kg, successfully overcoming the entire stages post-launch. The flight lasted 16 minutes 30 seconds. The satellites were positioned in a polar sun-synchronous orbit of 508 kilometers inclined at an angle of 97.5 degrees to the equator, and in the succeeding 10 minutes, all the 20 satellites successfully separated from the PSLV in a predetermined sequence. Following separation, the two solar arrays of Cartosat-2 series satellite were deployed automatically, and ISRO's telemetry, tracking and command network at Bangalore took over the control of the satellite. In the coming days, the satellite will be brought to its final operational configuration, following which it is expected to provide various types of remote sensing services using its black and white and color cameras.
Temperature, storms, rain, weather prediction matters to all of us. But unknown to us, distant happenings in space also affect us in many ways, especially changes in the environment of Sun. Yes, Sun is a hot spot of many activities like intense eruption of high-energy radiations called solar flares which impact Earth. Now a team of researchers, including an Indian origin scientist, is all set to predict the solar flares on time.
while weather changes on Earth affect our day-to-day life. Distant happenings in space can also affect many earthly activities. A perfect example of this is the solar flare. Solar flares refer to the brief but intense eruption of high-energy radiation from the surface of the sun. Solar flares are associated with dark sunspots and are known to cause many radio and magnetic disturbances on the Earth, disasters including malfunctioning of radars and hydroelectric power grids on Earth, and disruption of space missions. The X-rays from flares are stopped by our atmosphere well above the Earth's surface. These X-rays from flares disturb the Earth's ionosphere, however, which in turn disturbs some radio communications. Along with energetic ultraviolet radiation, they heat the Earth's outer atmosphere, causing it to expand. It can also affect the precision of the Global Positioning System (GPS) measurements. Hence, the prediction of space weather becomes as important prediction of weather on Earth. Now, an Indian researcher and her international counterparts are taking a giant leap that will help understand and predict the phenomenon of solar flares more accurately than before. The team comprising Dr. Piyali Chatterjee from the Indian Institute of Astrophysics, Bangalore, along with researchers from the University of Oslo, Norway, have computationally developed a numerical model to understand and predict how magnetic fields deep below solar surface result in solar flares.
What we have done is we have solved a set of partial differential equations known technically as magnetohydrodynamic equations, and we wrote the numerical code and we ran it through the supercomputers on NASA, and we had a simulation data which, when we analyzed, we were amazed to find that some of the features, observational features during a solar flare has also occurred in our simulation. And the amount of energy that was released during this flare simulation is actually similar to what we often observed on the sun.
The preliminary result of the experiment will allow these researchers to further the understanding of solar events and accurately predict more complex flares. The research has been published in the journal Physical Review Letters and has received much attention, as it has changed the way the phenomenon of solar flares was understood till now.
As children, we all might have watched with fascination expert climbers scaling large coconut trees to bring down large coconuts, only to realize with time how dangerous and risky the job actually is. Now easing the risk of coconut climbers is the multi-tree climber, a brainchild of Mr. Venkat from Coimbatore.
Coconut, also known traditionally as the Kalpavriksha, has been cultivated in India for centuries now. Coconut plantations are one of the major sources of economic revenue in India's southern states, providing employment to millions of farmers. But climbing a coconut tree to pluck coconuts is a tough and perilous task. The process involves immense risk of accidents and falling, but then one cannot use machines to pluck as it requires expert handwork. Easing up these difficulties, D.N. Venkat, a farmer from Coimbatore, has come up with an innovative tree climbing technology. The technology, called the multi-tree climber, allows the climbers to scale any height with ease, comfort and safety. The multi-tree climber comes with a seating facility along with 2 frames. While the bottom frame is foot operated, the top frame is hand operated.
ये मॉडल का वज़न है 10 किलो और ये 85 किलो तक संभाल सकता है, आदमी के 85 किलो के वज़न तक संभाल सकता है। और इनमें 2 लीवर्स होता है, जो एक ऊपर लगाना होता है और एक नीचे में पैर फंसाना पड़ता है और हाथ में एक कंट्रोल होता है, जैसे कि लीवर आप आगे पीछे करोगे वो पेड़ में फंस जाता है ताकि आप गिरे ना। इसमें आप यहाँ देखोगे तो एक सेफ्टी हार्नेस दिया गया है जिसमें ये और वो ऊपर का लीवर बांधा गया होता है, जिससे आप अगर पेट चढ़ते हो और आप हाथ भी छोड़ दोगे तो कुछ भी नहीं होगा आपके। इसी में 5 मिनट में 60 फीट से 70 फीट तक आप ऊपर चढ़ के सारे काम करके नीचे भी उतर सकते हैं। इनका पूरा सेफ्टी है।
The lightweight tree climber is fitted with the lock system along with the safety belt, which greatly reduces the risk of falling. With this, climbers can easily scale any height without the fear of falling. The most interesting aspect of this tree climber is that it can also be used on trees like palms and oaks, besides coconuts. With the help of this device, a farmer can easily harvest from 10 to 12 trees in an hour and earn higher income. The multi-climber, which presently costs 7,000 rupees, can be successfully used not only in India but across the globe.
Students who have recently got through their 12th class exams are looking for admissions in undergraduate and postgraduate courses. Now, this is the time to make right choices and intelligent decisions. Confusions are many and queries need to be addressed. In today's program, we will help you in listening to your true calling. We draw the attention of student community, especially those who have love for plants, towards the field of botany and thrill of studying the subject at graduate and postgraduate levels.
From life-giving oxygen to food and groundwater, humans are directly or indirectly dependent on plants for his survival. And the discipline which allows us to understand plants and various aspects related to it is botany.
All the groups of plants have some economic value. One of the branches of plant sciences which is studied is plant resource utilization, where we study how we can use fruits, fibers, how we can use various bioactive constituents of the plants. So it's a wide branch of biology.
In the era of globalization, new avenues have opened up in research as well as industry, and botanists have diverse career choices in both public and private sectors. While a person who enjoys the outdoors and fieldwork can opt to be an ecologist, taxonomist, conservationist or forester, those who enjoy research can choose being researchers in vast areas like developmental botany, plant genetics, plant physiology, plant biochemistry, molecular biology, chemotaxonomy, etc. Agriculture forms a big part of Indian business. Hence, many options are available in the agricultural sector, both in private and public firms for students. Besides research in core areas like plant breeding and seed technology to develop high-yielding plant varieties, career options are also available in interdisciplinary fields like agricultural communications for reaching out to the stakeholders and address different subjects related to agriculture.
After studying plant sciences in their graduation and doing masters, one can go for lecturership after PhD. Many of them can go in for research. There is a pharmaceutical industry which is waiting for the students from the plant sciences background. They want new bioactive constituents. We need drugs for diseases. There are so many new diseases which are coming up, and it is believed that only plant sources can cure such ailments, but we have to really look for that actual bioconstituent in the plants. So they can go in for research, they can go in for conservation aspects, they can go in for Indian forest services, because they have basic knowledge about the plants.
India's Ayurveda is based on plants and plant derivatives. Hence, knowledge of medicinal and aromatic plants is in huge demand in industries for the production of various medical formulations. While India is expanding in its export business, horticulture, which relates to cultivation and trade of fruit crops, flowers, spices and plantation crops like rubber, is emerging as a discipline with huge career scope. In order to pursue a graduation in plant science, one needs to have studied biology at the senior secondary level. After graduation in plant science, one can opt for masters in either plant science or various specialized areas under plant science. Well-known universities that can offer the course include University of Delhi, Punjab University Chandigarh, Banaras Hindu University, all central universities across India, Mysore University, Assam University, Kolkata University, University of Jammu. Some of the leading research institutions in India in the area of plant science includes the National Institute of Plant Genome Research, New Delhi, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, the National Research Centre on Plant Biotechnology, Indian Agricultural Research Institute, Delhi, CSIR, Central Institute of Medicinal and Aromatic Plants, Lucknow. Hence, young students who are ready to join colleges in this academic session should consider taking up the subject and enjoy the studies in plants, the nature's bounty.
And now we'll take a very short break here. We'll be back with more science news. Stay with us.
From cowries to metal pieces, Indian currency has seen many changes. The earliest punch-marked coins came from Gandhar. The East India Company at the turn of the 19th century also minted its own coins. The Indo-Greek coins come from a colony left behind by Alexander. They depict the golden rule of the Guptas, with embossed human portraits and matrimonial alliances like Chandragupta Maurya's wedding with Seleucus I Nicator's daughter.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching Science Monitor. Let us now have a look at some important science and technology activities happening in India and abroad in our next segment, Science Express.
In an astonishing new study, researchers using NASA's Kepler Space Telescope and its extended K2 mission have discovered a newborn, fully formed exoplanet. This is the first newly born exoplanet ever detected around a young star. The newfound planet named K2-33b is slightly larger than Neptune and revolves around its star every 5 days. According to experts, K2-33b is estimated to be only 5 to 10 million years old, making it one of the very few newborn planets found to date. Experts are still pondering over whether K2-33b migrated from somewhere else to its present spot through a process called disk migration, or the planet formed in situ, right where it is. Taking another step towards making summers interesting and enlightening for young students, Vigyan Prasar recently organized a 5-day-long program, Science Fusion, in Noida, Uttar Pradesh. Science Fusion, which is an activity-based program, was conducted during 21st to 27th June 2016 and saw active participation of young students.
बच्चों के लिए हम साइंस की कुछ एक्टिविटी बेस्ड लर्निंग को प्रमोट करना चाहते हैं इस प्रोग्राम के माध्यम से, और यहाँ पर आके बच्चे हैंड्स ऑन एक्टिविटी जो भी विज्ञान के विभिन्न पहलू हैं उसमें हाथों से अपने द्वारा एक्सपेरिमेंट करके अपने एक डिसीजन मेकिंग में उसकी क्या इम्पोर्टेंस है उसको वो जान रहे हैं। और अल्टीमेटली मेथड ऑफ साइंस जैसे हम कह रहे हैं कि मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव है कि हर बच्चा के अंदर उसकी सोच वैज्ञानिक कर दी जाए।
The program was aimed at sensitizing students about practical, activity-based science learning, inducing an interdisciplinary integrated approach to science learning through experimentation and to inculcate scientific temper among them through hands-on activities. The program included several interactive sessions on energy, nature exploration, origami, mathematics, low-cost science experiments, storytelling, science behind miracles, astronomy, sky watching, robotics, rocketry, chemistry, etc.
The much-awaited monsoon has set in India. But for few years now, the country has been receiving below-average rainfalls, and the culprit, we have been told, is El Nino. The good news is that rains in India are predicted to improve beyond this June as El Nino turns neutral. But this raises the question, what is El Nino and how does it affect our monsoon? Well, we will find answers to this today in our next segment, In Focus.
After the scorching summer, monsoon rains have been a refreshing welcome. While monsoon has been welcomed with open arms, doubts still loom whether the rains are here to stay till September. Because during the past few years, the monsoon season has been abuzz with news of below-average rainfall all over the country. And we have heard the term El Nino more than often. While Indian monsoon blues have been frequently linked to El Nino, not many of us may know what El Nino actually is. El Nino, a term that derives from Spanish, translates little boy. El Nino is a periodic weather system which involves warm ocean water temperatures. A contradicting phenomenon of El Nino is the La Nina, which means the girl in Spanish and is associated with cold ocean water temperatures. This interesting weather system develops and repeats itself after a gap of about 3 to 7 years in the tropical eastern Pacific Ocean and usually lasts for about 12 to 18 months on an average. The world climate is an outcome of the interplay between the oceanic and atmospheric temperatures. While warm ocean surface water heats and adds moisture to the air above it, forming low-pressure systems that cause tropical thunderstorms, cold surface water cools the air above it, forming high-pressure systems which hampers precipitation. This process is further aided by the movement of water within the ocean. Under normal conditions, deep warm water in the western Pacific Ocean produces a low-pressure region with heavy storm activity, while the eastern Pacific is a dry, high-pressure area with shallow, colder water. As a result, surface winds blow from east to west, while upper winds blow from west to east. Studies have proved that El Nino has a direct effect on the rainfall in India during monsoon. And in scientific terms, El Nino and the Indian summer monsoon are inversely related. When El Nino occurs, warm water spreads from the Indian Ocean to the East Pacific, and there is a rise in surface pressure over the Indian Ocean. Some change in pressure leads to the diversion of moist winds that causes monsoon rainfall from the Indian Ocean towards the eastern coast of South America. Thus, during El Nino, rainfall in India is below normal and this invariably has a bearing on agriculture, which is heavily dependent on June-September monsoon. Historical data suggests the most prominent droughts in India since 1871 have been the direct effect of El Nino, including the recent ones in 2009, 2014 and 2015. But after all that, here comes the good news. Finally, after 2 successive years of drought, a ray of hope finally seems to be appearing for the Indian monsoon. According to experts, climate models indicate that El Nino is finally getting weaker and is likely to be neutralized soon, which will increase rainfall in India towards the end of this June.
Well, that is all for this episode of Science Monitor. Do tell us how do you like our program. You can send your feedback and suggestions. Our email ID is news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also write into us at Vigyan Prasar, C24, Qutub Institutional Area, New Delhi 110016. Well, that is all for today. We'll be back with fresh news stories on science and technology again next week. Till then, stay tuned to Rajya Sabha TV and think scientific. Bye-bye.